Boom, diddy, boom, ba boom. Hey, dear diarrhea. Diary full of shit. Just play along, me, myself, and I. No one else. Say, yo, I'm so legit. Hey, SC. Hey, future wife of mine. um, hey, I saved that video of you walking on the beach with your sister in your circle feed. You've got those, what I call the pop flop butt cheeks. Now, flop sounds bad. Floppy butt cheeks are not good. But, when you walk, just like I had mentioned in my earlier audio presentation, those models, when they're walking towards you, their butt cheeks, you can kind of see them ba-boom, ba-boom, kind of drop down, and I like that. And, not all chicks have ass cheeks like that, but you do. It's kind of turning out that you're kind of amazing. So, oh, shit. Because I remember I kind of gave you some guff. It's like, well, technically you're number one on the list. I mean, I didn't really choose that. I just sort of put you in the front of the line. I got to get everybody their due chance to get me to fall in love with them. But who knows? You're first in line. I might just decide, fuck the rest of y'all bitches. And then I was like, blah, and the harem of hoes concept came and went, and then Katie Boo, and then that fucking travesty joke fucking bullshit. I mean, it's a damn shame. It really is. I talk shit, and I mean it, but at the same time, I don't. I mean, it's just a fucking tragedy, Until I see proof of life, I'm going to assume she dead. I'm going to assume she did it. So, and I'm not going to frantically chase it down and read comments, on other people's, I don't care. No, that's not her style. I don't think she has the, you know what I mean? It's like to just leave like that and leave her fans hanging. Like even if her therapist told her to do it, I'm assuming she has one. Because I don't know. I didn't really read the comments. Maybe there were people who were giving her shit. And because ASMR was so important to her, the 9 good comments, were snuffed out, from the 1 bad comment. And, she's just desperately needs approval and to be liked and this, that, and the other, that it was wearing on her, and maybe her therapist said, this is what we'll do, and maybe she's, in some sort of program, where it's like, this is what we're going to do. You're not going to do ASMR. Who knows what they came up with, right? Because therapists, they got to go through professional, college training, and then they get out in the field, and then they gain experience talking to clients. So I'm probably going to assume that poor Katie Boo, poor little lamb, probably had a new therapist who was freshly out of school, and didn't have much life experience, went to college, at 18, got out, is in a practice, and is probably like a feminist, right? So she's probably feeding her bullshit, like you can freeze your eggs and you can always find love, and, old is beautiful. And in her case, she was, she was aged very well. She was this petite, plickety-plack little thing. I mean, she's either a shriveled up corpse at this point or whatever her instructions were. Maybe they cremated her or whatever. But she exists no more. That smile, that thumbnail of her precious, preciously and peacefully asleep, with Fatty McFat fat fucking head, in the background with a paintbrush or some shit, brushing her cheek. It's like that broad's gone. No, not Fatty McFat. She's still here. She's very much here. She takes up a lot of here, there, a little bit of everywhere. Everywhere she goes, she takes up more than just here or there. She takes up a little bit of both. But Katie Boo's, as far as I'm concerned, she's gone. That human being, that soul does not exist on planet Earth anymore, at least not in her meat suit. So, fucking dumb bitch, honestly. But, What was I talking about? I'm 5 minutes in. Oh, yeah. I created a new public folder called AI Pause AI. It's public. It's my feature-based to Cool Breeze. It might be the only one I put in there. I also put in the Amen Drop the Mic and Weak People Make Hard Times. Fairly long video, 37 minutes. If you want to listen to it, it's in its entirety. Dear online family and friends, 182 subbies. Woo! 100,000, silver plaque, here I come. I want one of those so that when I do finally get around to contacting my feature-based to Cool Breeze, I can say, hey, look, what, you think you're better than me? I put zero effort into this, Like I said, in my last audio presentation, hey, some shingles blew off my roof too. Yeah, they happened recently. Haven't got it done yet. Yeah, I got to support my deck too. Just like about a week ago, I was like, shit, man. The right side of the damn steps is coming loose. Shit. Haven't dealt with it yet. And about 4 or 5 days ago, the doorknob came off in my fucking hand when I was opening the closet. And like I'm talking to him, he had mentioned, he gave the example, hey, if the door needs fixed, it's fixed right away. And I'm going to have to replace the doorknob because it's got this, it's an overly complicated doorknob where the little screw thing is thread. So it doesn't work. So, I'll have to take the time to, well, it's like I said in my other audio presentation. I'm just using my pocket knife for now. So, and I do I have a backup pocket knife, because you have to have a pocket knife with a point and a serrated like half of it. Not all of it, but half of it. So technically I'm putting more wear and tear on my pocket knife. It does have a locking mechanism, but over time things get kind of loose. And it's a pocket knife, so technically it might be designed to like tighten shit, but it's like at that point it's on life support. You just need to replace it. You'll be out somewhere and it'll fail completely. And then you'll have to, resort to a screwdriver and have to go get it. Instead of just, if you need a quick fix, use your pocket knife. I'm not saying use it as a screwdriver, but maybe you need to pry something, whatever. So, but I don't want to bring in an extra tool into my bedroom, I'll just keep like the screwdrivers and stuff that I have in my drawer in the kitchen there. Well, actually, that makes no sense. What are they in the drawer for if I don't want to use them? Yeah, that's pretty dumb. I just thought of that right now. At least I have the ability to recognize that, though. But that was my idea, It's like, well, my pocket knife's right over there. I'll just walk over if I need to get in a closet, because I keep it shut, right? There's your solution right there. Just keep it open. No, I don't want to do that. I have my process of like transferring air, like the hot air during the day and the cold air during the night, this, that, and the other, before I go to bed, and compartmentalizing stuff and shutting certain vents and just to try and keep, it's just what I do. Is it OCD? Yes, but all of my OCDs have function. Do I have to put my keys in the same spot every time? Yes. But that's a function, It's functional. It's not like I have to open and close the door 3 times before I go through it. So I got to close the door there. And anyway, and I just keep the screwdriver, in my little what have you there, but it would be like an extra item in my room. It wouldn't be, who cares, right? I mean, honestly, listen to myself. Because I never really use it, it's just chilling in my junk drawer. So I think that would be better. For the temporary time being, I am going to transfer a tool and actually use the tool, not the way it was designed, but close enough, as something that I can wedge in there and just open it. And that way I'm not putting wear and tear on my pocket knife. I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous. Wear and tear on your pocket knife? Hey, man, my life isn't full of a lot of problems. So, I don't know. What's the cost per year if I use my pocket knife versus if I use a screwdriver? how fast am I going to have to replace my pocket knife versus my screwdriver? Yes, I have a backup pocket knife, and I have multiple, the same screwdrivers because you always need to, you have to have two of everything, in the tool world. That's just how that works. But anyway, so it's like, again, it's like, sounds ridiculous, but technically on a ridiculous, holy shit, you ain't got no problems in your life, dude, level, it's like, well, I am making sense. No, it does. But anyway, so, what the hell? So yeah, he mentions a lot, just bad shit about AI, and he said some shit that I've said before. Great minds think like mine. Yeah. So, and he thinks it's a bubble. I've heard that a few different places. I agree. I hope so. I think so, and I think so, and I hope so. So, and he had mentioned, and then I watched another thing talking about houses and shit, and it got me thinking, I need to kind of, as I said in another audio presentation, I need to do some homework and find out what this power plant actually is all about. I was talking to a guy who's not really my neighbor, but he lives around here, and he saw me and he came and shook my hand, and we talked a bit. And according to him, it's they only use it during peak times. So it's not an actual power plant that's running full tilt, like the thing says that I posted there. And even that one, it only showed one, stack running. But, it's just peak times, so more so in the winter. Well, some people have electric heaters and shit, but like actually for their house and whatnot. But I want to find out some actual information, what I can, public available records, what is it actually, just do my homework. And, get an infrared camera. So just periodically I'll go out there at night, and see, how many are running, because natural gas, is I guess pretty clean, but still I don't fucking care. If it's pumping particulates into the air, basically exhaust, I don't care how clean burning the fossil fuel is. Yeah, those are just big exhaust pipes as far as I'm fucking concerned. So I don't want to be living within, a mile of, a factory that has 6 giant ass exhaust pipes sticking out of the ground, even if they only most of the time are running none or 1 or 2. And on rare occasions, that week in July where it was 90 degrees, for 7 days, where they got all 6 of them going. Miss me with that shit. So maybe I have to hawk this house earlier than I think. And as I said, even if it sells for less, this, that, and the other, it'll be a huge fucking hit, a tremendous fucking hit. I might have to pay, $200,000, here, leave me alone, So, I'm thinking in worst, case scenarios, garnished wages, file for bankruptcy and foreclosure and stuff. It's like, well, realistically, I'll probably have the cash, so, but you never know what the stock market's going to do. Some big war, well, we're in a war, you never know. Just, like I said, but I need to keep a close eye on my mortgage going up every year. Like I said, fixed game, what a fucking racket. Refinancing, oh sure, sounds great, and now you're at, because I'm locked in at like 3.2 APR, it's like we can refinance, and then you're locked in, at 15. And you're not locked in at all. Nothing is locked in. I don't even know why to say that. Fixed rate mortgage, But, and the lingo doesn't make any sense to me. I was like, well, that's not us. Technically, it's a fixed rate mortgage. It's just the taxes. And it's like, shut the fuck up. Am I paying more year after year? Then fuck you. Nothing's fixed. So, but anyway, like I said, I might have to make the hard decision to hawk this bitch. Like I said, 4,000 square feet, 2 levels, walkout basement, vaulted ceilings, 2 living rooms, lots of space, 10 acres, big damn shed with a motherfucking hoist in it. 60 by 40, 4 bays, concrete floor. I might have to walk away from this and never fucking look back. Sooner rather than later. And like I said, I'm kind of using the cursory words, but I really don't get hyped up. I'm not that guy. When I say I'm a shell of a man, I mean it. I just do not care about anything. Sure, it's not like I'm just like, oh well. No, it's fucking bullshit. You fucking scum, you fucking criminals. It's just like, the elites, the politicians, they're the reason for this. Society could function if it wasn't for greedy human beings. Those 12 fat cats sitting at the top of that company, that trucking company, those 12 fat cats sitting at the top of, A1 Trucking that runs 250 trucks or 4,000 trucks. And it's just like my future bestie Kubri said, they're masturbating at the thought of just firing all of these people. It's those people. It's your local mayor, in Mayberry, Andy Griffithville, who's making, $200,000 a year. Or it's the politician in Washington, D.C. who's making, fucking $1 million a year or whatever they make, you know what I mean? The corporations, the equity groups, it is them. They are absolutely the reason, 100%, why, the cost of living, it keeps going up and up and up, and wages stay the same. They gradually go up, but it's not keeping pace. It is greedy humans. So when he says, I hope y'all get to cancers and this, that, and the other, I wholeheartedly agree with him. So, well, the eyes of God and the devil. I heard a story about some sort of scammer outfit. I don't remember where it was at, but it was just like in the movie The Beehive. And some bad people kidnapped the son, and they didn't believe him. And they chopped him into pieces. And I thought, money doesn't buy happiness, it just buys everything else. So like I said, Pepsi cost, $2.50 across the street, but it cost $5 here. But you took it out the freezer, so you buy it. You're responsible now, or whatever, right? How many people do you fuck over today, boy? I fucked out. Well, there's this little old lady. I took her, for her Social Security and her life savings and everything. Oh, that's a good boy now. Go do your homework so you grow up big, good, smart boy now. He's a good boy, good, wholesome boy, good boy. Don't forget to eat your curry and don't eat this because the elephant god said so. Hug a cow, fuck you. Ilmar go, boom, boom, boom religion, the tourist chick, Look, it's straight white dudes who are fucking pure evil. It's like, no, I think it's, I'm trying to think, I think it's you. No, I'm not just like accusing, it's you suck. No, it's you. See that square hole over there? You happen to notice that you are shaped exactly like a square, the same size as that fucking hole over there? Stop talking. How's your wine business going? So, yeah, fuck you. So, anyway. So, SC, come on, baby. Yeah, I'm glad. Well, I'm not glad, but in a purely heartless, emotionless, empirical or whatever the word is, scenario, it's good that Katie Boo is not my future wife anymore. Because I wasn't just a troll. I said I was just a troll. I didn't do shit like that, and that was complete and utter fucking bullshit. But the truth is, I was in love. I was just too scared to admit it. But she's dead now. So that opens up the door for you and I. And you have money. As near as I can tell, Katie Boo, that dead piece of trash, she didn't have money. I was going to have to be the breadwinner, the leader of the household. I can still be all that shit. I can wear the plaid shirt, show up to the Oscars, in a taxi while you show up in a limo, and then we'll both leave in a limo. I can be that guy. I can bring that masculine energy. But you're going to bring the money and the buns. But cheeks for weeks, and the rest of my life. So, that makes me happy. I don't know how you feel about that, but you sure are some kind of fucking amazing. Oh, I'm a model. Give me the turn on the catwalk. Shake my glorious fucking ass on the catwalk. Dear X Zoolander, open it up. This is a bad man. This is what bad men do. Happy bar mitzvah, baby. It's a pony. You need to take your shit and move to Alaska. You're stupid. I can see you. Hey, so how'd it go, man? How'd it go? I think she bought it.